Well, let's get more now on the inquiry examining how thousands of NHS patients were treated with contaminated blood products during the 1970s and 80s. The former Prime Minister, John Major, has been giving evidence today. Listening closely, Denise Turton, who we're joined now by, her son Lee died when he was just 10 years old after being treated with a contaminated blood product. Denise, thanks so much for talking to us. Why is today and John Major's evidence so important to you and to the inquiry?
Well, hopefully today we'll get some more answers or further towards the truth, because he played a major role in it.
In what sense? What are you wanting to hear from him that you don't really feel you've got to the bottom of yet?
Well, his thing is, he was very unsympathetic towards the haemophiliacs who were HIV positive. He organised the ex gratia payment and made us sign a waiver. So we want to know why this was done, and also what was going on in the background. And hopefully some of the evidence will be uncovered.
And what was the impact of you having to sign this waiver? What did it mean?
Well, we didn't want to sign the waiver. We kept having the solicitors phoning us up telling us we had to sign it, because if we didn't sign the waiver, nobody would get anything. We all had to sign the waiver. So we did. So we didn't know at the time that Lee had hepatitis C. We didn't find out until we had his records when the inquiry started in 2017.
And what did that waiver prevent you then doing?
From doing anything further about the hepatitis C. We couldn't sue him.
We're looking at images of Lee. Tell us a little bit about him. Remind us of his story. He was just 4, wasn't he, when he was infected with infected blood?
Yeah, he was 4 when he was infected. He was just a nice, lovely, bright little boy, and it affected his whole life. We had to move because of people at the school and parents and things, and we took him to another area to try and give him a childhood that he deserved, but he was too ill. And well, he had 6 years from that time, and he died in 1992. But his death was awful. It was not a nice thing to watch, and it didn't only just affect us; it affected our daughter as well, because she was 2 years younger than him, and she watched the whole thing. We spent many hours in hospital, many weeks in hospital, and it affected our whole lives. We're totally different people to who we should be.
It's heartbreaking to know that not only did Lee go through this and you went through this, but because he had HIV, which was given to him as a haemophiliac in his blood, that other parents and children ostracised him.
Yes, it was hard. It was hard. How do you explain to a child that you're not getting invited to parties because you've got HIV positive? You know, you're HIV positive. You can't go and do what the others are doing, or the parents didn't want the responsibility, which is understandable, but that should never have come out anyway. We asked for that to be all kept private.
So what would a good outcome of today look like for you? What would make life easier for you?
The truth for us, the truth, justice, and they need to compensate them. They need to compensate all of them for what happened to them and the way they all died, the pain and suffering, and the families that have suffered with them. And there's many parents today who are not here to see this.
And there are many people who've died themselves, many adults who died, of course, also, as this inquiry has taken such a long time to go on. Do you think that it will be possible to change things legally, given that you had signed documents saying that you couldn't then pursue the matter further?
Well, I think that would be down to Sir Brian Langstaff to sort that one out. We're hoping that yes, because we should never have been told we had to sign that, because the way it was done, telling each of us that if one of us didn't sign, nobody would get anything. And then also, when we did sign, in 1991, we were told that he had to be 18 before he could access that money. And they knew he wouldn't make 18. In fact, he died in January 1992, so he had hardly any time to use the money.
It's awful to think that you were having to make these big decisions and think about these legal questions while you were really just looking after a very poorly little boy.
Yes, that's right. How do you fight anything when you've got a little boy that's dying, and he's in and out of hospital, you've got another little one that you're trying to look after at the same time, and trying to make life normal for her, and the whole time the government are telling us that we had to sign this waiver.
Yeah. Well, Denise, I hope you do get some answers today. Denise Turton there talking to us. Thank you so much for joining us today and telling us a little bit about your son Lee.
Thank you.